I remember sitting on the bed and he goes, no, you have to pull your pants back up. Like, you're not having this baby here. We're gonna go to the hospital now. Okay, help me pull up my pants. So he's like helping me pull up my pants, and then I'm like, no, take them back off.
I've been waiting weeks.
Yeah. Well, when we went out in December, I was about to tell her.
And I was like, so tell me the story. And she was like, no, you gotta wait. I was like, okay.
You've been waiting months to
Oh
hear
my
the
God,
story.
you have.
Yeah. Okay, so the funny part is, so I drove in from LA to
December
Vegas
3rd.
December 3rd because it was Everly's birthday. And so we were having a little birthday celebration. Your due date wasn't until
December 15th.
Yeah, December 15th.
I thought it was the same week that Everly's birthday was.
No, that wasn't my due date, but that's when she came.
I arrived December 3rd because it was Everly's birthday. That was the reason
So
why
I had
was
like
in town.
2 weeks till.
So I was thinking, December 3rd. I'm like, okay, I can like shoot YouTube videos. Like I had like my week planned. Like I had these things in order.
Yeah.
And then it's December 4th. In the evening, I was getting my hair done. Well, Brittany texts me while I'm getting my hair done. She's like, I'm having contractions, but it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, because you're like, are you okay? Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, they're very light. That's fine.
Isn't it normal to have contractions?
Yeah. Like you can have contractions for hours, like
You can have
days.
it for a whole day.
Like when you're that late in your pregnancy. Okay.
Well, I had 2 weeks left, so I was like, oh.
That's normal.
Sometimes they're called Braxton Hicks or something like that.
I don't know what it's called.
But it means like they feel like very light, but then they go away.
Oh, okay.
And like they'll come and go.
That's what
you're
one
not
of
going
my
in
friends
labor.
was telling me that she had contractions like a month before giving birth, like just on and off.
So
like
it feels like you're about to have a baby.
Yeah,
It's just
but
like
they're very light.
very light. I get here by 8:30, and we're eating, playing with the girls. You're still having contractions, but it isn't to the point that we're like
unbearable.
oh, it's going to happen tonight, right?
Yeah.
I'm here till like 10 p.m.
And we're like sitting on the stairs, and she's like, "Are you gonna be okay?" And I'm like, "I should be fine. I'll text you if anything. Just put your phone on loud just in case." She goes, "Okay, are you sure?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it's fine." So you leave, and then 10:30. She's like, "You talking about me?"
Talking about me.
Oh my gosh, she would.
She would.
Hang on.
So yeah, I'm still driving on the way home. I'm still
back to my
driving to
mom's
my
house.
mom's house.
Yeah.
And she texted me around 10:30, and what did you say?
So as soon as she left, I don't know what happened within like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Because she left, it was 10:30, and I'm like, oh my God. My contractions just all of a sudden started getting like so much stronger. I remember going into our closet, and I'm like still putting a couple things in my bag, because I'm like, oh my God, I'm like stopping what I'm doing, and then I'm like, oh my God, they're just really strong. And then Tyler goes, you need to text or call your sister. And I'm like, okay, and that's when she
texted me at 10:30 saying, hey, how about you just go home, grab your bag, and then come right back, because I feel like
it's gonna happen
it's going to happen
Yeah.
tonight. And so I go to my mom's house, I'm like out of there in 5 minutes, and I drive back.
Was your mom home?
No,
she was
she was not home.
No, she wasn't.
So I'm trying to call her and tell her, but she would not answer.
Yeah, and so you're like in frantic mode, like just like throwing stuff in a bag.
Yeah.
And I remember just like being like, I'm on all fours, and I'm like, oh my God, like I was just it was so painful that I just remember like, let me brush my teeth, like once like the contraction, because they'll come and go, but they were so like right
back
after
to back
one, they
to
were
back.
so back to back. So I'm like brushing my teeth,
and you're like,
and I'm like, I remember like stopping, and I'm like, oh my God, like literally in the middle of brushing my teeth, and Tyler goes behind me and he goes, are you okay? And I'm like, oh my God, and then it's like it goes away, right? Because that's what contractions do, they just come and go, and I'm like. Okay, and he parked in the garage, so he's like, I'm gonna warm up the car. We're going, like we're leaving, like now. And I'm like, okay, like go start the car. And so he's like throwing stuff in a bag. He went and started the car. He's like back and forth outside, and I remember just like, so from our bathroom into our room, like that walkway, I remember just having an urge of pulling my pants down. Like I just had to pull my pants down. You just had a feeling. And my water broke
right when
when I pulled my pants down. So like there's liquid just going all over my foot. And I remember leaning on my bed and I'm like yelling for Tyler, but he's outside. Like he's just like,
mind you, the kids are upstairs sleeping.
And hang on, let me put her on my shoulder. Yeah.
Oh.
Your fingers are just coming out of that. But she's stretching her butt. So I remember leaning on my bed and I'm like yelling for him. He comes in and he hears me, so he runs in the room.
Yeah.
And I'm like sitting on the bed. Oh, I'm sorry, baby. Okay, shh. Am I talking too loud? I'm like getting in the. I'm like remembering that day. So I remember sitting on the bed and he goes, no, you have to pull your pants back up. Like, you're not having this baby here. We're going to go to the hospital now. I'm like, no, I can't pull up my pants. Like,
because she couldn't walk.
yeah, because once you're like in that mode,
your
you can't
body
just start
just
walking.
like shuts down.
No, yeah.
Okay.
So he's like, the car's on, come on, I'll just put you in the car now, and like, let's go. And I'm like, okay, help me pull up my pants. So he's like helping me pull up my pants, and then I'm like, no, take them back off. And so I'm like sitting on my side of the bed, and I'm like, I'm about to push her out, and then he goes, and I'm like, you need to call 911. So he calls 911, and so they transfer him to medical, and literally as they're transferring him, I push twice. And she like plops right out, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm like freaking out. And then she's like on the phone with the, and then he's like, my wife just pushed out our child. And then they're like, okay, let's stay calm, blah, blah, blah. And like, we were okay, but I just was like so in shock. Like I literally I'm holding her, well, Tyler's holding her. And I was freaking out because I think I was just like in the moment that I was like, did she cry? Or like, cause she was kind of like,
Cause you like, so when did you call me? After you pushed?
Yeah, I was like, I literally grabbed my phone and I'm like calling her and putting her on speaker, and you're like, I'm almost there. I'm like, I pushed her out already. And she goes, what? And you're like, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, Tyler basically caught her. And
Oh my God.
I was just like so much in shock that it happened so fast. And then luckily, so on the phone, they were like, okay, do you have like a shoestring to cut the umbilical cord?
Oh, just like
to tie it off, because you're supposed to like clamp it and then they cut it.
Oh.
And so I wasn't even paying attention because I'm just like looking at her and making sure like she's okay.
Yeah.
And then
So wait, did she cry?
she did cry. Usually they like clean out the nose and mouth as soon as they come out.
With that
and I'm like,
thing.
we didn't do that because we didn't have the equipment for it.
Yeah.
So I was like, is she okay? Is she okay? And then he's like, I think she's fine. And they were like, just wrap her up in a towel, like keep her warm. And luckily, the ambulance like had came shortly after. It was probably like within 5 minutes.
Oh wow,
So
that's
fast. So then they like all come in, and then they're like, oh, like, are you okay? And then so we ended up not cutting the umbilical cord. They were like telling Tyler how to do it, but he was kind of scared. Like,
wait, but then she was
we were like
connected
still connected.
to you.
She was still connected. So I'm just sitting there.
Oh
I
my
couldn't
gosh.
even move.
Yeah. Did it.
So I still had my placenta. It didn't come out yet. So I'm still having contractions.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You keep having contractions till the placenta comes out?
Uh-huh. So I'm like telling them, I'm like, do I just like
push
it out? Because I remember in the past with Sophia and Everly, shortly after they tell you like push it out. Like when you're having a contraction, you push out the placenta, like right after the baby comes out. And so I'm like, they were like, no, it'll come out on its own. And I'm like, I don't know. Like
So
I was
you're,
kind
like,
of
trying to
scared.
Like they've told you before too.
Yeah, like with Everly, they remember they were like, right after like push, and then like it plopped out.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, they were like, no, don't push it out yet. And I'm like, thank you. I was scared because I'm like, the placenta is not supposed to stay inside of you for like long. I'm pretty sure it's supposed to flop out.
Yeah.
So my sister is coming through the door as I'm on the stretcher right here.
Yeah.
So she comes in like perfect timing as we're supposed to leave. She literally like comes through the door. She goes, "Oh my god!" And so she sees like the EMT like holding Melody.
Yeah.
And
Holding her.
I was
and
like,
I just
"Are you
could
okay?
not
You're gonna be okay?"
believe that Tyler, who has no medical,
medical
like he is not trained medically. Like I think a lot of people ask, like, oh, because a lot of people have home births.
Yeah.
Right? People think like
by choice.
By choice.
Yeah.
You have like a midwife here, or maybe you have like the water. You have like
the
a water birth.
Yeah.
But no, you guys had no medical background, no experience whatsoever. Like
just besides having Sophia and Everly, you know, like she's our third kid, but other than that, I mean, it was pretty freaking scary and kind of like funny that he thought he could just put me in the car and like
just be like,
go to the car.
You would have had to give birth
in the car, yeah. But
that's
like,
why. And you know what's so funny? A couple days prior, because like my dad was like, I don't know, he was like extra like
careful.
He's like, well, what about the baby? Like, what if you give birth? And so I'm like, Dad, calm down. It's not like the movies when it's like, oh my God, I gotta go to the hospital right now. And that's exactly
literally,
what
it was like a movie scene. Like the stuff you see in the movies was what happened. And I'm like, why? Like my birth stories just keep getting crazier and crazier, and they're so much quicker. Really meant to be that they were like sleeping at that time.
Yeah.
And she was even here in town.
Right.
Yes, because for both Sophia and Everly, I had always planned to come a week prior to their due date, but every time I had planned it, they always were like a week early or 2 weeks early.
If it wasn't Everly's birthday on the 3rd, she would have not came.
No, I wouldn't.
I would have told her like, oh, come the 10th, because my due date was the 15th. So Everly's birthday is December 3rd, and Melody's is December 4th. Literally right after. I'm like, so crazy.
I told her, I'm like, you're probably just extra really fertile in the spring because all of their birthdays, like they're all winter babies.
They are.
Yeah, sure.
Oh.
She's definitely going back to
sleep.
See, she didn't even drink that much.
So, but tell her the part about the placenta.
Yeah, so we
Oh my god. Isn't it like the size of like a softball?
I have a picture of it I can show you. Yeah,
I'll show you took a picture of it?
I didn't show you?
No.
I thought I did. I'll show you. Because I told Tyler, I'm like, when we were at the hospital, I'm like, take a picture of me. Because like normally when you're giving birth in the hospital, they take it away like right after. So I never really got to see it.
Is it pretty graphic?
I mean, it's just like, you'll see. I guess
It just looks like a membrane, probably.
Yeah. So I'm in the ambulance, and then I'm like silently like having contractions the entire car ride because they're like driving so slow too. I'm like, can you hurry up?
Hurry.
So we pull up, and I'm like, they're opening the doors to the ambulance, and then they're like, this is me right on the stretcher, and it's like going like this, and I have a contraction. I'm like, and
it just slides out.
As we're like getting out of the ambulance, I like push really hard and just like, and I tell the lady, I'm like, because she's like, oh, let us know if it comes out, whatever. And so I tell her, I'm like, oh, excuse me, it came out. I'm like, I pushed it down. She goes, oh, okay, that's good. But I was just like, thank God, like my contractions just like stopped. I couldn't even enjoy like holding her in the ambulance because I'm like, oh, like having contractions.
You're still in so much pain.
Yeah, because Tyler, they're like, oh, you can't come, you have to like drive separate. So he followed.
He couldn't even ride with you?
No, so it was just me and Melody in the car or in the ambulance.
Yeah.
I was just like, did that really happen? And then when we were in the hospital, they were like, wow, you guys did all the hard work. Like, all you have to do is like, chat. And then I was like, well, that was not planned. Like, we did not plan on, like, we thought we were going to make it to the hospital at maybe like 3, 4 in the morning, like, because that's when I thought she was going to freaking come. She came at 10:54.
Oh my gosh,
so
literally
how fast?
Like 40 minutes after you left.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Literally. So I'm like, they do say like, as you have more kids, they do,
the faster.
Like, they're faster, which I don't know, I just like didn't know what to expect. But remember I told you guys like months before, like, you guys, I know it sounds crazy, but I don't plan on getting that epidural. And you guys were like, what the heck? So like, I
like, she didn't even have a choice.
Yeah, I did. I literally didn't have a choice.
So then this time, did it hurt less than Everly?
I think because I knew mentally how it was
like your body
feel.
prepared already.
With Everly, I was like, oh my God, like that was like the worst pain ever that I have ever felt. But
this one was just like, okay, you're
like
out.
I knew mentally like the pain
You're
level,
prepared.
so I was prepared more. So it wasn't as bad.
But you still feel the placenta like inside of you?
Yeah, like
my gosh.
it's like a weird feeling. Like,
is it hard?
It's soft.
It's soft.
Do you want me to show you guys now?
Yes, I want to see the photo.
I want to see.
Okay. So we were like asking about like, so she was technically born at home. What did we put on the birth certificate? They're like, your house address. Like you could literally put your address.
Yeah.
So I'm like, that's kind of cool.
That's cool.
So I don't say her address, but I'm trying to pull up.
Wow.
Okay, you guys ready?
Oh my gosh.
want to see.
Okay, well, let me show you the photos. Oh, so this was right after. I'm holding her.
Aww. When you guys were still connected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they're like, I think
so
he's about to
little.
like cut her.
Is that Tyler?
No,
oh, no, that's
like,
the guy.
I think he was about like, look how
Oh my gosh.
she's like off the camera. Oh my gosh, look at her hand.
She's like
But
purple.
she's like purplish,
Yeah.
like usually purplish blue.
But babies are always.
oh,
like
and
that,
this is
right?
when you came in.
Oh wait,
yeah.
I think. Did you post this picture? I think
I did on
Okay.
for the New Year's. Yeah, I did like.
Oh, you
for-
did. Okay, I think
So
I
that's
remember.
what she's in there in that little
in the
foil
space
thing.
blanket.
Yeah. And I'm like sitting there like,
my God, in their
I'm
gurney.
okay. Yeah. And then this, I'm pretty sure.
Is that when you're having a contraction?
Oh, probably. Look at my face.
You're like, oh no.
Oh, and this is in the hospital. So are you guys ready? Oh,
Let me
this is,
see.
oh wait, no, this is her.
Oh.
Sorry. I was like, wait.
I
is
was
this the
like,
next photo?
Where's the placenta?
Okay. I'm like doing it slowly. I'm like, wait. Oh, here.
Oh my gosh.
That came out of you?
That looks
Yeah.
like an organ.
It does, right? It's so crazy looking.
It looks like your intestine.
Wait, so the placenta is the one that feeds the baby, right?
Yeah. It like grows. It's in there like soon when you're pregnant.
Right. So when the food
Yeah.
from your stomach goes
Goes to the
into
baby.
placenta. You know, some people keep their placenta.
Oh yeah, and then like cook it and eat it. Yeah. My mom was like, "Oh, keep it." I'm like, "No, you can take it." No.
Take it.
Yeah.
What?
Oh, I'm trying to.
Oh.
Yeah, I think it's because she didn't burp.
Oh.
Got a burp.
Yeah. But she was 6 pounds 8 ounces, bigger than Sophia and Everly, which
I mean, I think I was like 5 pounds.
You
I was
were.
a small baby.
Whoa.
but Sophia and Everly
We
were
were
both
small
5
babies.
pounds.
Oh,
They're just different ounces for both of them.
Damn, I was like 8 pounds.
Well, I was
think.
too.
Okay.
David,
Yeah.
David was a 10-pound baby, so.
Oh my god. I'm just thinking of like a 10-pound dumbbell.
Me too. I'm thinking that if I'm giving birth to a 5-pound, I'm like, it shouldn't be that
Yeah.
bad. But I mean, if it is like a 10-pound,
Yeah, but you got
baby,
David's DNA
Yeah, I
mixed
know,
up in
so
there.
it's like,
I'm a
no.
10-pound
Maybe it'll be like in between, like a
Well,
7
I heard that
pound.
you can't let the kids get that. You can't let they don't let babies get that
Past-
big anymore. Yeah.
Oh, so like when your doctor monitors you,
Yeah.
if they feel like the baby's
Right,
too
right.
big, they'll just
Yeah.
induce you?
Yes.
Whoa.
So,
Very.
do you plan on having a 4th?
As crazy as it sounds, I do. And as crazier, like, this is even crazier to say because me and Tyler were like, we never thought we would have a baby at home, but this time around,
now
I feel
you're-
like we could plan it where we could
be
have like
at
a
home.
midwife for our 4th baby.
Aw.
Yeah, I don't know if I told you that.
No, but I assume.
Yeah, because now we've experienced it.
Yeah.
And the one nice thing about being at home, it's like you are in the comfort of your
own home.
rather than like 10 people walking in and like your legs are like wide open.
Yeah.
It's like there's
I think
so
that's
many
the
people
part that
coming
I'm
in.
kind of worried about is like
And the hospital scene,
everyone looking at my vagina.
Oh, you guys, after you have the baby, a nurse or even the doctors, they come in and
they'll stitch you up.
well, yeah, if you do tear.
Yeah.
But they will press on your, right here, on
your
your
lower abdomen?
Yeah, they'll push on it and it's so painful, but they're trying to get all like the excess blood out. And so it really hurts, but they have
What if
to
you
like,
have the epidural? Then it doesn't hurt.
yeah, well, I don't remember with
Okay.
Sophia. But they do, sorry, baby. You're so wiggly.
I'm like just so happy that you were safe.
Oh,
and
me
Good
too.
that
she was
came out head
healthy.
first.
Oh, that was
too.
another thing too. I kind of like we knew that she was because like I could feel her like kicking
Oh, you can
on.
that
Yeah,
makes sense.
Because like they're so much bigger, so you can feel them like kicking. But I was just scared. Like I'm like, oh my gosh, is she okay? And
Yeah.
that was my main thing. Was like, oh my god, if she wasn't gonna be okay, like what would we have? It would have been so scary. But yeah, one more for me, and then I don't plan on any.
Then you're like,
more.
so-
Yeah.
Okay, so
So it happened at home.
if you
Planned out.
okay, once you have 4, are you gonna get like your tubes tied? Are you gonna? Or is
I told
Tyler
Tyler
going to
To
like,
get a vasectomy.
I told him he needs to because
it's easier for guys.
well,
Yeah.
that too, but like I push out all these babies. I'm like that's all how many years have I had to do that?
Like
you
endure
can-
the pain.
Yes,
You're
endure
right.
the pain.
So
I'm
the
like,
least
you
you
can do
is do a vasectomy.
Yeah, that's what I told him. And
Which
he's
you
like,
can reverse.
yes, you can. So
Yeah.
and women like you can't. And it's just like
It's
done.
like done forever.
So I'm like, no, he can do that because I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't want more than 4 because I'm like, oh, that's like a like I have a
also,
zoo
like-
at my house. I mean, it's a circus all day, every day. But Tyler always jokes, and our mom, she's always like 6, and he jokes too, like, yeah, let's have 6. I'm like, yeah, I'm
You
like,
realize
like,
you're gonna need
yeah.
a bigger house than this.
oh
by the
yeah,
time you
we
have
definitely
6.
would outgrow this for sure. But I'm like, no, 4. Four's good.
Yeah. Cheers. I'm so
Cheers
happy.
to you.
Yes.